The ninth lesson I've learned from the people of Broadway Church is to publicly celebrate the holiness you see in the lives of others. This builds on yesterday's lesson. I have three instances I want to tell about this. The first is a woman in the congregation at Broadway who told me about a party she had attended, and she was talking to a friend of hers there, and she thanked her friend for the holiness she saw in her life. A little later, while she was at the party, she said, I think I should publicly celebrate this person. And she got up on a chair. She got everybody's attention at the party. And she pointed at her friend Cheryl and said, I want to tell everybody here what wonderful things that Cheryl does when she welcomes people to her table. She's always interested in feeding those who are hungry. And she invites them to her table and she feeds them a really good meal. This is good and holy work. And this was important to her because as a child growing up, she had grown up in migrant communities where she often didn't have enough to eat. The second story was one Sunday morning at celebration worship at 9:30. One of the lay leaders of the congregation stood and he asked a woman in the room to stand up as well. And he pointed at her and he said, I just want to celebrate this woman who welcomes the stranger like is talked about in Hebrews in the Bible. He says, whenever a new person moves into her neighborhood, she goes over and greets them, introduces herself, takes that person around and introduces him or her to their neighbors. Then she takes that person on a walk through the neighborhood, introducing that person to the neighborhood shops as well as to the good places to walk around there. Beautiful. The third instance was I was at an exhibition of the Doors Project, created by the artists who live around Clifton and in the 30s on the near west side. These, at the end of the exhibition of this door project, Maurice got up in front of the crowd and he invited three of his neighbors to come forward. Roe and Earl are a couple who every day after school would provide food and crafts and music lessons to children. Their lawn would be full after school. They just did this out of their generosity. They don't have much money themselves, but they poured themselves out for their neighbors. And the other one was Theon, a local artist and bicycle mechanic, who through his art brings healing to those who are around him. Maurice celebrated that and gave them both a financial gift from the donations that people had given to the Doors exhibition. When we publicly celebrate the holiness of others, it multiplies. Thank you, Broadway.